Hello and welcome to Gazette discussion for 17th June 2021. My name is Harsh Singh and today we will discuss many interesting articles in the news. The first and featured news for today is on Deep Ocean Mission. Now this mission has been approved by the Government of India, and here we will study the important components, the 6 important components of this mission, along with the opportunities that entails and some challenges. This day in history is about the day United Nations declared to combat desertification and drought. New snapshots. The important updates we have covered for you are: 1. Project 75I, that relates to submarine development in India. The second one is trusted telecom portals, how we source our telecom products. That policy here is in this trusted telecom portal. The third one is about the demand for recognition of Tulu language in South India. Image of the day, an interesting one, relates to spider webs, kilometers and kilometers of spider web in Australia, how they got formed and why. Terms and concept, important for the pre-exam. The 4 terms and concept that we have covered are Indo-Thai coordinated patrol exercise in the Andaman Sea and its significance, dedicated freight corridor, the rail corridor, 6 of them, we will have a quick view of it. Silver Line project, an important rail project in Kerala, and 4th is Jalgaon Banana. The 3 editorials that we discussed today are: 1 on how to control these technology giants. What is the Indian methodology? What is America doing and how is Europe handling it? The second one relates to artificial intelligence and its development, its future and progress. And the third relates to electoral bonds and some criticism of government policies. Let's start. The featured news for today is on Deep Ocean Mission. Now, 70% of Earth is water and 95% of the ocean bottom has not been explored. Also, India is surrounded from 3 sides by water and we are fighting for resources, trying to exploit resources on the land. This is a clear sign that country, India and all the countries around the world, must start to utilize the ocean resources as well. And this is why the concept of blue economy has come to the fore. Blue economy talks about utilizing all the water and marine resources for the development, for the sustainable development. They could be waste management, climate change, transport sector, tourism, fisheries, renewable energy, all of them together. And that is why United Nations has also declared that this decade be the decade of ocean science for sustainable development. Also, Vision for New India has blue economy as its important pillar, one of the 10 pillars. And this is why, and this is the reason the government has initiated this project on Deep Ocean Mission, right? Now, this cabinet approval has happened and it has got 6 components, right? A number of ministries have been involved and this is a multidisciplinary program, right? We will just get to know how. However, Ministry of Earth Sciences is the one which is the nodal ministry for this mission, right? Okay, so now what we understand here is that there are 6 components of this project, right? We have explained this here. However, I will make it very simple for you. Let's see. Now, this is the Deep Ocean Mission. The first component of it, very simple one, could be relating to the resources present, right? For example, if we have fishes, the second one could relate to exploitation of other biotic components inside the ocean. The third one could relate to the energy, ocean thermal energy. The fourth one could also relate to climate change, right? The fifth one on exploration of the bottom, and the fifth one on development of technology to reach that bottom and get out our resources, right? So submersible. And actually these are the 6 components of it, right? So the first one relates to development of the marine resources, for example fishes. Second one relates to the other biotic component, development of a research station for exploring the other biotic things, right? The third one relates to ocean thermal energy, OTEC, right? The warm currents and cold currents, they can be utilized to create energy and run the turbine, and they can also be utilized to convert the saline water into fresh water. So third one is this. The fourth one is climate change understanding, right? This can also help the tourism sector in the region, in marine areas. The fifth one is about exploring the marine potential. For example, the polymetallic nodules, the sulfides that are found, right? So this is the fifth component. The sixth one relates to the going to that bottom 5 to 6 kilometers or even below the earth's surface, and then trying to bring the metallic nodules back to the earth's surface, right? So these are the 6 components simplified for you, right? And you can also refer to the various ministries involved: Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Climate Change, here Ministry of Energy Resources, right? Ministry of Biotechnology, Exploration, Ministry of Earth Sciences, see, Ministry of Technology, Science and Technology. So many of them can be involved. So this is in short. However, let us quickly look at what is written here. So the first one that they talk of here is the mission, which has this component of sea mining and manned submersible. Now, manned submersible is a project of India, in which India wants 3 people to go around 6,000 meters, that is 6 kilometers below the Earth's surface, and to retain themselves for 72 hours, right? So this will be called as Samudrayan, right? This is the project, manned submersible project, to harness the deep sea minerals, right? What are the minerals? The minerals are the polymetallic nodules. These are iron, manganese nodules, and they have layer by layer coating of cobalt, zinc, copper, titanium, and other important minerals, right? This can also help in India sustaining its resources, especially the rare earth minerals, right? So that is why the increased focus. The second one relates to climate change, right? Observing the models of climate change and also predicting the climate of the coastal areas, right? It can also help prosper the coastal tourism. The third one is technology innovations in conservation of biodiversity, right? Where I spoke of the sustainable exploitation of fishes as the resources, right? So this is the third component, right? The fourth one is deep sea exploration. Exploration happens after we have understood the sea floor, right? So we understand the various resources. For example, sulfides are present at the ocean bottom relief at mid-oceanic sites, because this is the place where lava comes out. So sulfide is an important mineral which can be exploited from these areas, right? Moving ahead, the fifth component is the exploitation of energy and utilizing it for fresh water creation, right? As I explained, ocean thermal energy can be utilized, right? So this is another component. And the sixth one relates to advanced marine station for ocean biology, right? So biotechnology gets involved, and blue manufacturing, right? Trying to understand what are the other biotic factors that are involved and how they can help escalate our development in India, right? Okay, so these are the 6 components, right? Quickly understanding, the first one could be biotic resources. The second one could be sustainable development of fishes, then climate change, and then we have energy, right? Energy, and then 2 resources, 2 parts for exploration. One is exploration, and the second one is using these explored resources and getting them to the earth, right? So these are the 6 components. You won't have to remember them. We have made it simple. What is the significance, right? First of all, we indigenize this technology. India is one of the pioneers doing this work, and India was the first nation to be awarded certain marine land by the International Seabed Authority, so that we could develop our marine capacity, right? Okay, so we develop this technology by ourselves. This is the most important thing. We create employment in the process, right? We also utilize MSMEs and other small organizations to develop this capacity, and then we harness the blue economy. Why not? We are utilizing the land, we must utilize the ocean as well. So these are the important significance of this. And deep sea mining, right? What is deep ocean? Anything that is below 200 meters, around 200 meters, aphotic, the place after which light does not reach the ocean. So that is the aphotic zone, and that is where deep sea starts. Okay, now these are the areas around the world where deep ocean minerals are largely found, and this is where our country is, India, right? At the center of the Indian Ocean, here we see lot of resources present, right? We also see resources being present in the center of the Pacific Ocean, right? Now this is the place where mid-oceanic ridge is also existent. So we find some special minerals at the mid-oceanic ridges. For example, sulfides, right? So there are specific kind of minerals found at different places based on the geological developments at those places, right? How is this significant for India? As I said, we develop indigenous technologies, right? We have already got a lot of piece of land from International Seabed Authority to continue with this project, right? We develop potential for affordable energy, new energy resources. Also, since we get these important minerals, the rare earth minerals, right? We had discussed this in articles before, how we are dependent, how the whole world is dependent on China. If we have this capacity, we will have, high-end technologies for us, and we'll be self-dependent on that, right? We will have more Make in India initiatives. So therefore, this deep ocean mission is very important for the country. You can expect such a developmental question in the exam. However, we do encounter challenges, right? First of all, we disturb the marine biology. We disturb the whole ecosystem, sediment disruption, wastewater, residual metals, right? When we go deep down, so won't we disturb the ecosystem of that place? Yes, we will, right? There'll be noise and light, and the marine resources will be disturbed. Also, going deep down 6 kilometers, there will be a lot of pressure, water pressure above that particular entity which goes down, right? So there will be a lot of water pressure, and bringing kilos and tons of these metallic nodules back to the earth's surface, that is another challenge, right? So this is what the first article is about, the featured news. Quickly a recap, and if you have a pen paper, quickly note down the important keywords here. The first and important thing, that this mission is a part of this Ministry of Earth Science, right? So this is the important thing that you got to note down here. The second one is, this has got 6 components. Write down the names, right? If you write down the names, you will understand the significance associated, right? Like, for example, if you have biodiversity, fishes, climate change, tourism, right? So these are the 6 components. Note them down, important. And moving ahead, you will also note down the significance for India. For example, indigenization, employment generation, harnessing blue technology, right? And we also studied the resources present. For example, you got to write down that mid-oceanic ridges are the place where sulfides are present, right? The significance of the rare earth minerals for India. These are the few important significance. And after that, you will also note down the challenges, some of the challenges. For example, reaching that below, and then sediment disruption and disturbance of the marine biology at those surface levels, right? After that, attempt this question: how does the deep ocean mission aim to achieve India's vision to harness blue economy, right? So this is it. And right here, you also can note down the components of blue economy, and see, these are the kind of facts which will help you score more marks. UN declaration of this decade as Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and vision of New India, including blue economy as its important pillar, right? Now, this is the manned submersible which will be sent. Now, this is not India's. India is developing its own, right? Okay. Moving ahead, the second article, the day in history, is about the day we declared to combat desertification and drought. This was declared by United Nations back in 1994 on June 17, the same day. And the idea for this year's theme is restoration, land recovery. We build back better with healthy land, right? So build back better is the theme for a lot of developmental activities happening now, right? And as much as 3.2 billion, almost half the population of the whole world suffers because of desertification, and that is what we have to reverse, right? This affects food security of a lot of people, economic resilience, jobs, right? Raises a lot of inflation. This also affects the biodiversity, and everything can be reversed if we try to help stopping of desertification, right? Okay, new snapshot. The first snapshot for today is on Project 75I. Now, this project is an important project for submarine acquisition and development, right? Now, India is surrounded by neighbors like Pakistan, China, and we also have blue economy development, as we have just seen. So we need some security in our ocean areas, right? And therefore, the submarine, having submarines for the country, whether indigenous or procured, that is very important. And therefore, Project 75 is in news, right? So India has finally approved, Ministry of Defense has finally approved that we acquire 6 submarines under Project 75, okay? Now, the important parameter for this is that we will be developing these submarines through collaboration with the international partners, right? So the idea is that we develop 45% of indigenization of these 5 submarines, and the 6th one will be 60% indigenized, right? Though components will be of this proportion, and we develop them with strategic partners, right? So this is the idea behind this project. Okay, we must know that these are conventional submarines, these are diesel submarines, right? So what is the issue with diesel submarines? That is that the submarine, once it goes below the water, it needs to burn the fuel, right? It needs oxygen. So once in a while, almost a day, it has to come at the surface. Once it comes at the surface, it is easily locatable. So these are the conventional diesel submarines. And then we have battery powered submarines, where the battery is the one which powers the submarine, and therefore it requires lesser amount of time when we have to come back to the OHO. The first snapshot for today is on Project 75I. Now, we just studied that India is starting its blue economy, right? And we are also surrounded by countries like Pakistan and China. And therefore, we need to preserve our marine spaces, not only surfacial, but subsurfacial as well. And that is why this blue economy needs the system of submarines, right? And this Project 75I is also associated to it. Now, the Ministry of Defense has finally cleared a very long delayed project to build six of these submarines indigenously by ourselves. However, we will be also associating with strategic partners, right? The idea is to have a level of indigenization in these technologies. So the first 5 submarines being made in India, we will have 45% of indigenization, 45%, and the 6th submarine will have 60% of indigenization, right? This is what the article says. Now, this is the reason that we need underwater combat potential, because of the presence of China and Pakistan in this nearby region, right? Now, this submarine is having air independent propulsion system. Now, what happens is that submarines, they utilize fuel, and therefore to burn fuel they need oxygen. Once the submarines go below the water, they can sustain there for a period of time, beyond which they have to come back to the earth, to the surface of water, and this is where they intake oxygen again and go below the water. And this is where the exposure leads to being vulnerable against the enemy. Now, these 6 submarines will have air independent propulsion, right? So they will be independent of coming back to the surface every once in a while, right? They can sustain there for longer time. These are conventional submarines. That means they are driven by diesel electric power, right? And the other ones are nuclear powered submarines, which are driven by nuclear power, right? So this is what the submarine stand for India is, right? The air independent propulsion submarines. Note down these keywords. And finally, we have cleared this project after 2 decades. So important development. Please note down the important keys here. The next article is on Trusted Telecom Portal, right? Now, the government has developed this portal so that we could source means purchase the telecom products only from certain vendors, right? So this portal will have some trusted products and trusted sources, right? So the vendors will be mentioned, who to purchase it from. What is the context of this? Now see, India and the world over is going through a transformation in digital technology. Now we are coming into 5G technology, and with increased dependence on technology, we will have Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, we will have robotics everywhere in all fields. And if we are dependent on countries which are competitors, which are surveilling, which are high in surveillance, they will try to gain our data. We will have less data security, right? So as it is, we see increased number of threats and attacks. For example, phishing attacks, for example, malware, and then we have ransomware. All these are rampant in the world in digital technology. To avoid this, India is saying that we will have only trusted products and trusted partners. This is indicative against China, right? As of now, what we are doing is we are utilizing 4G technology, 3G technology with the help of many Chinese products as well. For example, Huawei, ZTE, these are Chinese companies, and Airtel, Vodafone India are utilizing their services. Now, 5G involvement will have only trusted vendors. This is what the article says, right? So this will involve data security for the nation, right? Although the 4G technologies and the previous technologies can have annual maintenance and the existing contracts in place, but newer ones have to be sourced only from the trusted vendors, right? Okay. The next article is on demand for recognition of Tulu language. Tulu language is an important South Indian language spoken by few people, but culturally very rich and recognized internationally, right? Before moving ahead, we must know the Tulu speaking areas, right? So you see this, a small area which is at the boundary of Karnataka and Kerala, right? Some districts of Kerala, Kasargod, etc., northern part of Kerala and southern part, Dakshin Kannada, these are the places where this language is spoken, right? This language is very important in that space because it is spoken. However, the written text is in Kannada. These people have their own language in which they can develop script. However, because the language is not promoted, therefore it is getting decreased, right? But there is an increased awareness among people, there is prosperity and social development, and therefore people are claiming their own language. There are rights which are helping them to claim their own language, right? The government and the constitution also provides safeguards under Article 29, right? Minorities have the right to protect their own language. Also, an international declaration called as Yuila Proclamation, right? It was made in China to protect the indigenous important languages. It is very important to know that language development does not happen over hundreds of years. Over thousands of years, these are developed and they represent an important culture of the place, and therefore preserving them is very important. And thus, if we meet the demands of Tulu people, if we have this language placed in the 22nd, among the 22 languages in the 8th schedule, then it will have certain more rights. There will be more funding, right? We also studied a case study of Ladakh where using the indigenous language helped students to gain a lot of education. Their education standards improved, right? The same thing will happen in Tulu areas as well, right? So how will it help? Mother tongue in primary education is an important component for the students, right? So mother tongue is good, then it will be spoken in schools, right? It will be put in 8th schedule. Lot of script can be translated, right? Funding will be there. It will be recognized by Sahitya Academy. Then we have the members of parliament and MLAs speaking in the local language as well, Tulu language. So these are the important developments which can happen if we have preservation of the local language. All right, this is what the article is about. Okay, now for Tulu people, we must understand an important thing. Now, Yakshgan is an important cultural heritage of the Tulu people of the same region. This question was asked in UPSC exam, and Yaksh actually means the nature soul, right? And in Yakshgan, the folk songs and important stories of Mahabharata, Ramayana, they are recited, right? So please also note Tulu people associate with Yakshgan. Okay, now getting back, image of the day, interesting image of the day. This is the image of a lot of spider web cobs, right? They all have formed spider webs. Why have they formed it? This is formed in Australia in Victoria state. Now, because of flooding of this region, the spiders tried to preserve themselves. What they did was they spit out all the silk that they had inside their mouth, and this helped in formation of this kind of the cob. So this survival tactic is called as ballooning. They try to preserve themselves. Survival of the fittest, this is what is ensured through this kind of mechanism, right? So these latches, right, they spit it out on tree tops, grass, roads, etc., and therefore they could easily climb the place. And there are places where we see a kilometer length of such cobs, right, spider webs. Interesting image of the day and good survival tactics. And similarly, you must do everything to get through the exam. Terms and concept, important for the pre-exam. The first important term and concept is Indo-Thai Corpat. Corpat stands for coordinated patrol, right? This coordinated patrol is very important in the Andaman Sea region, which is very close to Malacca Strait. Malacca Strait is an important choke point where the trade passes to China, South Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, etc., right? And therefore, to maintain independence of this region, India and Thailand conduct this bilateral exercise. So you must get aware whenever Corpat comes into your ears, you must remember India and Thailand, and Sagar Initiative and HADR. You must note these two things, right? Because coordinated activities also participate in security and growth for all in the region. This is India's vision. Also HADR for disaster relief, right? So these are the two important countries participating in Corpat. Next is dedicated trade corridor. And before that, let me show you quickly the important trade route here. See, now important, this is blue, dark blue are important trade route, and this is where is Malacca Strait. Very important for India and Thailand as well. Right? Okay, dedicated trade corridor. Now, dedicated trade corridor is very relevant for India because, see, India has already got train lines, right? but these train lines are used by passenger trains and goods train both, and preference is given to passenger trains to travel. Dedicated rail corridor will be mentioned, will be having for only goods train, right? And the trains will be traveling at a speed of 100 km/h here. So we already have got two of them built, the Eastern Corridor and Western Corridor. Eastern Corridor is from Punjab to West Bengal, and Western is from Haryana to Maharashtra. And we will also have proposed East-West Corridor, North-South Corridor, Coastal East Coast Corridor, and one South Corridor, South-South, which is from Chennai to Goa, right? The idea is to increase the transportation of goods at a faster pace. This will help economic development of India and transport sector development, especially for the railways. Okay, now the third is the Silver Line project. This project is a project of the Kerala government. The main idea is to connect these important cities, all the 11 important cities of Kerala, to transport hubs, for example, international airport, right? These places are also popular for tourism. So therefore, this helps the regional growth of Kerala, right? Right now, the trains here travel at an average speed of 45 km/h, but this development project will ensure that the trains travel at 200 km/h, and this will help in reducing the time of travel. Right now, it is around 12 hours. It will reduce it to less than 4 hours, right? And this will also help in reduction of greenhouse gas emission in the region, right? Because there will be electric trains, right? It will integrate the airports. There will be more employment opportunities. So a great project for Kerala, right? Silver Line, remember this name, right? The next one is about Jalgaon banana. Now, banana is an important food in India. It is an important fruit. Why? Because India is the leading producer as a tropical country. It is the leading producer of bananas in the world. And Jalgaon bananas are popular because they have mineral, extra mineral, and more fiber. And now they are being transported to Dubai. So this place in Maharashtra has got GI tag for this kind of banana. Okay. Okay. The next section is the editorial section. Very important 3 editorials. Let's quickly discuss them. The first editorial is on how to ensure that these technology giants, right, be controlled in the country, right? Now, technology giants like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter, right? These all giants have not been elected by the democratic governments. However, they control a lot of social space. They also have got a lot of power because they have got financial capacity, not under the control of any of the governments, right? So therefore, the article says that different countries have adopted different means of dealing with these giants. For example, Europe ensures the freedom of the individual, and therefore Europe is high on its priorities. America earlier used to be liberal towards the technology giants, but now has tried to restrict their performance, curtail their domains. But what should India do? The case study they have presented is of the WhatsApp, right? Lately, WhatsApp announced its privacy policy, right? That it could share certain data with Facebook, right? And it generated a furor in India. Now, this is where the article says that a Signal, another app which had good privacy policies, earlier was not used. Earlier was used only by 1.5 million people. It got downloaded at maybe 16 million people. This is what the article says, started to use it. Now, this is where the article mentions that India must act. Why? India must not try to regulate these giants. India must develop competition, right? So that new players can develop products for people. And this will help in developing consumer rights. There will be more consumer rights through competitive environment, not through regulation. See, America and India are at different phases of development. America can try to regulate them, the MNCs, but India should try this in a different way because India is at a different phase of development. The second article is on the artificial intelligence technology, right? The article starts by saying that now this is not the era of engagement. A lot of competition exists, and so it exists in the field of AI, artificial intelligence. And countries like America, China collaborate against giants like China in loose associations like Quad to develop artificial intelligence, which can be developed for positive and negative purposes both. Positive could be use of AI in health sector, in communication, in education, etc. However, negative could be trying to survey, trying to invade somebody's privacy, helping in terrorism, etc. Right? Now, the article also talks about requisition of talent. Now, it mentions a Macropolo research where it says that around 12% of people who did their graduation in India, right? There are around 30-35% people who did their graduation in America and around 10% who did their graduation in China. They are the experts in the field of artificial intelligence, right? However, most of the artificial intelligence is built, 90% is built in America, in China, in Europe. India is not able to India is not able to hold back its talent, right? So the idea is to have more talent in the nation itself. The article also mentions that one cannot restrict the development of AI in a region. It is a global technology which will prosper, and therefore organic cooperation among the countries is very important. This will help to stimulate the fourth industrial revolution in the world, right? The third article is on electoral reform, electoral bonds, right? The article says that this electoral bond scheme also has loosened the democracy. Why? See, it is people who vote the government, people who install the government. However, if corporates are funding the government, then they also have influence over the government. So the influence of people gets reduced. Focusing the base on this aspect, the article says that there must be transparency in funding, transparency on these electoral bonds. This scheme was introduced by the government saying that it will promote the less usage of black money, right? Because the money will be diverted through state bank, and there will be transfers of money, yeah, online transfers of money, etc. However, the article says that a lot of things are opaque, right? For example, the people who are donating the money, the corporates who are donating the money, they need not mention which party they have donated to. They need not reveal if they have donated to a political party or an NGO. It is a voluntary declaration, right? It is an anonymous declaration. The second thing is asymmetry, right? Now, many parties which are accepting donations, they are accepting it from international organizations also. Let's see how. Earlier, they could not accept it from organizations, from those corporates which are subsidiaries of international organizations, right? Earlier. But now, these subsidiaries of international organizations can also pay the money. So, indirectly, they're accepting international money, right? So, why this? Why is this required? Then, earlier, the profit-making corporates only could donate money, but now even loss-making can donate. So this is an asymmetry, an opaque way of performance, right? Why is this there? There is no article for self-disclosure, right? Now, this is where the article says that self-disclosure is very, very important, which JMM, a Jharkhand-based party, has done. Okay. So important article for electoral reforms. Okay. Now, case study of the day. This is the case study of women empowerment in the state of Mizoram. This lady, P. Sangkomi, is an important person in the state because she helped in promotion of women empowerment in the state. How did she do it? Now, earlier the culture in the state was not women-centric, right? For example, during marriages, women were not given rights. The gifts that people got, nothing was for the female, right? The husband could suddenly divorce the lady and she would not be entitled to any sort of compensation or maintenance later, right? Inheritance rights, these were all not in favor of females, right? Also, there was a bride pricing, right? Whenever the marriage would happen, there would be a culture of bride pricing. This was a temporary tradition, however, it continued. So, women were not treated at par with men. And what she did was, she kept persisting with the State Law Commission to look at these laws, to relook at these laws, and finally, the laws got changed, right? All the laws in Mizoram relating to inheritance, relating to marriage, to divorce, they empowered the females. So this lady is treated for her good work in Mizoram, right? So gender justice and women empowerment were the major developments because of her, right? So what do we understand through this article is that the progress of a community is determined by the progress of females in that society, and she has rightly done her part in progress of her Mizoram society. Okay, and this is where I would like to share a small part. This kind of attire which is worn, this is the culture of Mizoram, and the females of Mizoram, they are the ones who create this attire. This is called as ponchi, and this ponchi is the female attire which these females only they create and weave, right? So give us feedback, and thank you for watching.